For years, those discharges out of Lake Okeechobee have poisoned our beaches, killed fish, and cost Florida millions in lost tourism.
Lake Okeechobee, the vast freshwater giant of Florida, has long been a place of shifting waters, hidden depths.
Rise in Lake Okeechobee. New reports have high concentrations in some spots.
And there's growing concern over releasing that water to the treasure.
And quiet mysteries beneath its surface. For decades, scientists and locals believed they understood its rhythms, its floods, and its warnings. But recently, new footage captured over the lake has sparked alarm, showing something rising from beneath the water that no one expected, no one predicted, and few can explain. So, what is emerging from the depths, and why is it happening now? This is the footage that changed everything forever. The Lake Okeechobee Mystery. It all began in the summer of 2023, when a team of environmental researchers set out on what they believed would be a normal survey flight over Lake Okeechobee. The lake had long been known for environmental concerns, so the mission was simple: collect water samples, assess conditions, and record any small changes in the water system. Nothing about the mission suggested anything unusual was about to happen. At first, everything appeared calm and ordinary. But everything changed the moment they reviewed the drone footage. Across miles of water, the lake surface seemed to rise and shift strangely. Dark masses began to appear from below, pushing upward through the water in slow rolling movements that spread outward across the surface. From above, it looked as if something massive was moving underneath the entire lake. What made the footage even more disturbing was not just what they saw, but the scale of it all. The rising patterns stretched across a vast area of the southern basin, far beyond normal algae blooms or seasonal plant growth that scientists were used to seeing. They had seen smaller disturbances before, but never anything that covered so much of the lake at once. This suggested that the issue was not local, but part of a larger system changing beneath the surface, affecting everything at the same time. Within days, the footage spread among researchers and environmental agencies, but it did not reach the public in a clear way. As scientists studied the images more closely, one question became impossible to ignore. What exactly was happening beneath Lake Okeechobee? And why was the entire lake reacting like this? To understand it, they knew they had to look deeper below the water. What followed was a growing sense of uncertainty among experts who tried to explain the strange movements seen in the water. Some suggested natural shifts in underwater plant life, while others considered changes in sediment or unseen water currents that might be stronger than before. Yet none of these ideas fully matched the scale or timing of what had been recorded. Teams prepared for further study, diving deeper into the lake to gather direct samples and real-time data, hoping to uncover the truth behind the rising formations that had shocked them all. Despite the growing tension, the lake remained outwardly calm, hiding whatever processes were unfolding beneath its surface. Researchers knew that the next phase of investigation could change everything they understood about the lake and its hidden behavior forever, possibly reveal dangers no one had anticipated beneath the surface of the water that had long been taken for granted. Scientists first noticed a strange development while reviewing drone footage of Lake Okeechobee from above. But what exactly made them take such a deep interest in what they saw? And why did they keep going back to the footage, trying to understand it in more detail? Let's uncover the fascinating details. Beneath Lake Okeechobee. When underwater cameras were finally lowered into Lake Okeechobee, researchers expected to see something unusual. But what they discovered was far more complex than anyone had imagined. Beneath the surface, they found vast, thick underwater forests of invasive hydrilla covering large areas of the lake floor. Hydrilla is a fast-growing aquatic plant introduced to Florida many decades ago. It spreads quickly, and thrives in warm, nutrient-rich waters. Over time, it formed massive tangled mats that stretched across wide sections of the lake bottom. But the plant itself was only part of the problem. Beneath these thick hydrilla layers lie heavy deposits of dark organic sediment, often called muck. This material had built up slowly over many years from dead plants, algae decay, and pollution. In some places, it was more than 3 feet deep. As temperatures increased and microbial activity grew stronger, gases began to form inside these sediments. Methane slowly built up, trapped beneath layers of compacted muck. Eventually, pressure became too strong, and large bursts of methane escaped upward from the lake bed. These sudden releases pushed hydrilla mats and sediment upward toward the surface. What the drones had recorded was not a living creature or an unknown monster rising. It was the visible effect of a lake ecosystem under extreme pressure. Scientists realized the phenomenon was driven by long-term environmental changes that had been building silently for decades. Excess nutrients from agricultural runoff and urban waste had slowly fed the growth of algae and plant matter. Over time, all this organic material sank and compressed into thick layers at the bottom. Without enough oxygen deep inside the sediment, natural breakdown became anaerobic. This process produced even more methane gas trapped below the surface. When conditions changed even slightly, the trapped gas forced its way upward, lifting entire sections of plant mats like floating islands. Researchers described it as a slow-building pressure release system hidden beneath the lake. It explained why the drone footage showed large moving formations across wide areas. What looked mysterious was actually a natural response to years of environmental stress. Yet the scale of the activity still shocked even experienced scientists. They now planned deeper investigations to understand how far this system extended beneath the lake, because beneath the calm surface, there may be far more hidden activity than anyone ever expected to find. For the researchers, each discovery raised even deeper questions about the lake's future stability and health. The lake, once seen as calm and predictable, was now revealing a hidden world still full of unanswered mysteries, waiting to be fully understood by science in the years ahead. The footage revealed dense fields of invasive hydrilla covering the lake bottom, along with thick layers of organic sediment known as muck. But was this discovery something new, or had it been forming quietly over many years? And more importantly, what kind of threat could it pose to the lake and everything that depends on it? Let's find out. Lake Okeechobee's silent collapse. The shocking footage did not appear out of nowhere. For more than 50 years, fishermen, scientists, and environmental advocates had been noticing worrying changes in Lake Okeechobee. Fish populations shifted in strange ways, algae blooms became more frequent and more intense, and water quality slowly got worse. Nutrient levels in the lake kept rising year after year, showing a clear long-term trend that something was not right. Many of these warnings were recorded and studied, but real action often came slowly. The lake's problems came from farm runoff, changed water flow, invasive species, and years of built-up nutrients. Together, these pressures slowly reshaped one of Florida's most important lakes into a stressed ecosystem facing constant environmental strain that continues to change beneath the surface, even today, still in unexpected ways over time. What surprised researchers in 2023 was not that the lake was struggling. It was the scale of what they witnessed. For years, people around the lake had been raising concerns that were often treated as small or separate issues. Each problem seemed manageable on its own, but together they slowly built a much larger environmental strain. Runoff from farms carried extra nutrients into the water, feeding plant growth beyond natural levels. At the same time, changes in water flow patterns reduced the lake's ability to clean itself naturally. Invasive species also spread easily, taking advantage of the rich nutrients and warm conditions. Over many decades, all of this built up quietly, with little visible warning to the public. So when researchers finally saw the drone footage in 2023, the reaction was immediate and intense. It was not just another environmental report. It felt like a warning that something much bigger was happening beneath the surface. Scientists realized they were not only looking at a lake in decline, but at a system under long-term stress that had reached a visible breaking point. The footage simply made visible what had been building silently for decades under the water. And for the first time, many began to understand that the lake's problems were not sudden, but deeply rooted in time. This realization changed how experts viewed everything they had seen, forcing them to rethink what they thought they knew. What once looked like separate problems now appeared as one connected and growing environmental story unfolding over time. The lake was no longer just a body of water being studied. It had become a living record of human impact. And as researchers continued to study it, they knew the most important discoveries were still ahead. What they had already seen was only the beginning of a much deeper story still unfolding beneath the calm waters. The problems facing Lake Okeechobee are the result of many factors that had been reported long before the footage was ever captured. But why did the lake become so vulnerable over time? And what conditions allowed what was discovered to thrive and spread so widely within it? Let's uncover the details. Lake Okeechobee's hidden balance. Lake Okeechobee holds a strange kind of power. Its greatest strength is also the source of its deepest vulnerability. Spanning about 730 square miles, it is surprisingly shallow, with an average depth of only 9 feet. This combination of shallow waters, strong sunlight, and warm temperatures creates one of the most productive freshwater environments in North America, rich with plant life, fish, and microscopic organisms. Yet these very same conditions that make the lake so alive can also push it toward imbalance. When too much phosphorus and nitrogen flow into the water, they act like fuel for uncontrolled growth. Algae spreads quickly across the surface, and invasive plants take advantage of the extra nutrients. What should be a balanced ecosystem begins to shift into something more fragile and unstable. Weeks turn into years, and years into decades. And slowly, the lake begins to carry the weight of everything it receives. Dead plants sink to the bottom, algae decay builds up, and layers of organic material accumulate on the lake floor. Oxygen becomes harder to sustain in deeper zones, and the natural cleansing process weakens over time. This is not a sudden collapse, but a slow, building cycle that strengthens itself. Each new layer of nutrients and sediment makes the system more sensitive to change. Even small shifts in temperature or rainfall can trigger larger reactions beneath the surface. Over time, pressure builds in hidden ways that are not visible from above, until one day, the effects become too large to ignore. Weaknesses in the lake system are often invisible at first. It does not appear as a single event, but as a long chain of small changes that build on each other. What the drone footage captured was not a random occurrence, but the visible result of decades of ecological pressure finally expressing itself in motion across the water. It also served as a warning that what appears calm on the surface can hide powerful changes underneath. Scientists now view the lake not just as a body of water, but as a living system shaped by time, pressure, and human influence. Every layer of sediment tells a story of what has been added, what has decayed, and what has been transformed. The rising formations seen in the footage are therefore not mysteries without explanation, but signals of a system reaching its limits after decades of continuous strain. Each new observation pushes researchers to rethink what stability truly means in such environments. And it reminds us that even familiar landscapes can change in ways that are slow, hidden, and powerful enough to reshape entire ecosystems over long periods of time. Activities on the lake bottom have contributed to declining oxygen levels and the gradual buildup of sediment over time. But what could this development mean for the future of the lake? And why is it considered a serious cause for concern among researchers? Now, let's explore the living heart of Florida's wildlife. The growing concern behind the strange footage. Before thinking about what may happen next, we first need to understand what Lake Okeechobee truly represents today. It is not just a wide body of water on a map, but a living system that quietly supports both nature and human life in deeply connected ways that many people often overlook for granted without realizing its importance to the surrounding environment and communities. Lake Okeechobee is often called the bass fishing capital of the world. Every year, anglers travel from different parts of the globe hoping to catch large trophy bass and other valuable freshwater fish. Around the lake, fishing is more than a hobby. It is a major part of life. It supports local businesses, creates jobs, and brings steady tourism to nearby towns. For many families, the lake is a source of income and opportunity that they depend on every single day. But fishing is only one layer of its importance. The lake and the wetlands that surround it form one of the most vital wildlife habitats in Florida. These waters and marshes provide food and shelter for a wide variety of animals, including birds, fish, reptiles, and mammals. One of the most striking facts is that around 30,000 alligators are believed to live in and around the lake, making it one of the richest freshwater wildlife regions in the state. This region is one of the rare places on Earth where American alligators and American crocodiles naturally share the same habitat. This unusual overlap makes the ecosystem especially unique and highly important for science. It draws attention from researchers and conservation experts around the world, who come to study how these two powerful species manage to survive side by side in the same environment today. For many people, Lake Okeechobee is far more than just a lake. It is a place of daily life, work, and quiet adventure, where families fish, explore, and find peace in nature. Local communities depend on it for their livelihoods, while countless wildlife species survive within its delicate and ever-changing balance, shaped over many years of natural forces and human activity in a constantly changing living world. That is why the footage recorded in 2023 raised so much concern among researchers. What appeared as strange rising masses in the water was not just an unusual sight. It was seen as a possible warning sign of deeper changes happening beneath the surface. Changes that, if left unchecked, could affect not only the lake itself, but also the people, animals, and entire ecosystems that depend on it every day. Beyond the ecosystem of Lake Okeechobee, which serves as a home to diverse wildlife and supports vast populations of animals across the region, what exactly could the footage be warning us about? Could what is happening in the lake be pointing to a much larger ecological reality? Now, let's uncover the future of South Florida's entire water system. The hidden environmental warning signs. Researchers now think the strange 2023 event may not be a one-time occurrence. Instead, it could be a warning sign that parts of Lake Okeechobee are slowly shifting into a more unstable ecological condition. In this new state, the lake may no longer respond in normal ways, where even small changes in water, heat, or nutrients could trigger much larger reactions across the entire system, unfolding beneath the surface itself. As water temperatures continue to rise year after year and nutrient-rich sediments continue to build up on the lake bed, conditions inside the lake are becoming more extreme. Scientists warn that if this pattern continues, events like the one captured in the footage may not remain rare. Instead, they could become more frequent and more intense over time. Algae blooms could spread wider than before. Invasive plants could take over larger areas, and the overall health of the lake could decline even further. These changes do not stay inside the lake alone. Lake Okeechobee is not just an isolated body of water. It is a central part of a much larger water system in South Florida. The lake connects to surrounding wetlands, rivers, and channels that eventually feed into sensitive ecosystems like the Everglades. This means that whatever happens in the lake does not stop there. It spreads outward, affecting wildlife, water quality, and even human communities far beyond its shoreline. What made the 2023 footage so important was not the discovery of any strange creature or unknown force rising from Lake Okeechobee. Nothing mysterious was hiding beneath the water. Instead, it showed something more serious and real. It revealed the clear result of years of slow environmental damage building up over time. What scientists saw was like a hidden problem finally showing itself. Decades of change and pressure beneath the lake had reached a point where it could no longer stay hidden. For scientists, this moment revealed a hidden window into problems that had been quietly growing for years beneath the lake's calm surface. Layers of sediment, nutrients, and biological activity had slowly built up over time. From above, everything looked normal, which made these hidden changes easy to miss or underestimate until now, when their effects finally became impossible to ignore across the entire lake system and surrounding environment as scientists watched the unfolding situation with growing concern and urgency about what lay beneath. In the end, the most worrying part of this story is not what rose from Lake Okeechobee in 2023, but what had already been building quietly for years. The signs were there long before, but they were ignored, overlooked, or seen as normal changes in the lake. The footage did not create a new problem. It only exposed what was already hidden beneath the surface, turning silent patterns into something impossible to dismiss by scientists and the public now. So, what do you think about the Lake Okeechobee footage? Could there be danger if the situation is not addressed quickly? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.